I wanted an easier way to do APRS here, and here, and here, and here. Stick around, and we'll get right to it. Hey, welcome back, guys. Jason, KM4ACK. Now, before you go typing down in the comments that I could just grab a radio like the D74 or the D75 and do APRS from the couch, well, that's absolutely correct. However, I do a lot of APRS messaging. In fact, seldom a day goes by that I don't send and receive at least one APRS message, and usually it's multiple APRS messages in a 24-hour period. So over the last couple of years, I have grown very fond of taking APRSdroid and attaching it to a radio like the D74 or the UV Pro so that I get a better interface for sending those APRS messages. I've already done a video talking about how bad it is to do APRS messaging on the front of these radios. Now, if you're only going to do one every now and again, sure, it's fine to do it on the HT. But if you're going to do multiple messages every single day, you want a better user interface, and that's why I've come to rely on APRSdroid. But that also means at home that I have to carry this device and this device with me around the house, and that's just not always super convenient. It's an extra battery to worry about charging, and it's an extra device to have to drag around with me, and I wanted to see if I could find a better way. I've got two different methods for you today. One involves using APRSdroid, and the other involves using YAAC, and I'm going to walk you through and show you exactly how I've set that up to make it so I can do full RF APRS only using my phone. Now, at the heart of my system is an APRS digipeater that I run here at the house. It's a super simple setup, and I've done several videos on how to get those up and running. Take a look at my APRS playlist if that's something you're interested in doing. But that is the heart of this system, is that digipeater, and it's running Direwolf, and it's also attached to my Wi-Fi network. First up, let's take a look at APRSdroid. I'm going to go up to the three vertical dots in the top right corner, tap on that, and then I'm going to tap Preferences. From the Preferences screen, let's click on Connection Preferences. You'll see that I've got my connection protocol set to KISS TNC, and the next thing that's critical is the connection type. Mine is set to TCP IP. So normally I would run that on Bluetooth SPP when I'm connecting this particular application to the HT. But for this use case, we want to use TCP IP. Below that, you see the server, and that's the KISS TNC server to contact. If we click on that, what I've got here is the IP address of my digipeater. Following that, I've got the :8001, which is the KISS TNC port that comes built into Direwolf. Now, one thing I missed when I first started setting this up was the TCP socket timeout. I believe I had that set to 15 or 30 seconds. That should be set to 0 so you don't see any errors. And then the TCP reconnect timeout I've got set to 300 seconds or 5 minutes. Once you've got those changes made, you hit Start Tracking in the bottom right-hand corner. I stopped it right there. We'll go ahead and hit Start. And if we take a look over here, you'll see that it tells me that TCP is okay, right there where I beaconed out in the green text. Now, at any time, if I want to take this and go back to using it with an HT when I'm out and about, I simply click those three vertical dots in the top right corner. We'll go back to Preferences. We're going to come into Connection Preferences, and I would change the connection type to SPP. And then I would be ready to connect to an HT again. And now with this setup, as long as I'm within range of my home Wi-Fi, I can do APRS over RF right from my phone. Setting this method up in YAAC is almost as easy as doing it on the Android device. We're going to go up to File, Configure, and come down to Expert Mode. Once we're in the Configure screen, let's go ahead and come up to our ports, and you will see that I've got this KISS over TCP port configured. So if you don't have this, you would simply click Add right here, and for your port type, you would choose KISS over TCP right here from this drop-down menu, and that would give you all of these options. Now let's take a look at the port that I actually have set up here. So we'll just go ahead and edit this one. You'll see the port type is KISS over TCP. you'll see the KISS over TCP host name, and again, you'll see that I've put the IP address of the computer that's running Direwolf. Once again, we've got that same listen port of 8001, and then I just gave it my call sign with an SSID and made sure that transmit was enabled. Shouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff down here. You should just be able to click save and you'll be ready to go. If we pull up the station and object list, you'll see that I've got data being fed into YAAC. And all of this is thanks to that digipeater that's up and running right behind me. With this setup on a day-to-day basis, I can use APRSdroid on the phone to drive APRS over RF. If I decide to venture out, then I'm just going to swap over and start using APRS in the truck. When I do that, as soon as I lose a Wi-Fi connection on my phone, well, that's going to shut down APRSdroid running in the background. Doesn't shut it down, but it disconnects it so it's not beaconing out because it has to have that TCP port that it can no longer access because we've left range of Wi-Fi. Now I'm tooling about in town and I've got APRS running in the truck. Once I get back to the house, I shut the truck down and I come back inside. My phone will reconnect to my Wi-Fi server here at the house. And if you'll remember, that TCP reconnect time was set to 300 seconds. So after I've reconnected to the Wi-Fi here with the phone, it takes that 300 seconds or about 5 minutes for APRSdroid to find that TCP connection again. So it basically is all happening automatically as I move in and out of Wi-Fi range. That leaves it so that I'm pretty much on APRS all the time. Don't believe me? Go ahead and try to send a message. If I'm at the house, I'm going to receive it on my phone, and if you give me usually within 5 or 10 minutes, I will go ahead and send a reply back to you. Now, that always depends on exactly what's going on here at the house. If we've got a bunch of family over, well, it might be a little bit more delayed than that. But if you leave your APRS device on and ready to receive messages, you'll definitely get a reply from me. If you found today's information helpful, be sure to give us a thumbs up before you head off. Well, let's see you stuck around to the very end, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a bonus tip. Have you ever heard anybody say that you're probably not going to hear very much on 5.2 simplex if you don't call CQ? Well, the same thing applies to APRS. So let me show you one of the things that I do on a fairly routine basis. Let's jump over to the phone so I can show this to you. From in APRSdroid, I'm going to click the paper airplane icon right up there in the top right, and that brings us into our messages screen. And by the way, guys, I told you I do a lot of messages. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click Send Message To. And instead of giving a specific call sign, I'm going to use CQ. That's because CQ is a group message that's in pretty much every APRS radio out there. As it comes from the factory, CQ is just one of the defaults. So I know if I send a message to CQ, it's going to light up a bunch of different radios out there with an APRS message. In the body of that message, I'm going to put Good Morning, Middle Tennessee, and go ahead and click OK. That's going to start sending the messages out. Now, you'll never get an acknowledgement for this message, and that's because group messages are not acknowledged by radios because they're going out to all of the different radios. You wouldn't want to flood the channel with a bunch of acknowledgements coming back to you. So APRSdroid will send this, I believe, by default about 7 times, and then it's just going to quit sending. It's very frequent that I get at least 1 or 2 replies from a CQ message that I send out. So I try to do that maybe once a week, maybe a couple of times a week. Whenever I think about it and I'm sitting here, I go ahead and send out that group message just saying hello to everyone and generating some extra activity on the APRS bands. All right, for real this time, that's all.